Yes, there's currently no one in the lobby.
Okay, thank you. And the New Mexico Martin Luther King Jr. Commission will come to order. It is now 11:08 a.m. On the 25th day of June in 2025. We are convening today for the annual meeting of the commission. Everyone online and in person, please silence your devices. We'll start today with roll call. And the secretary was here, but seems to have stepped out. So we need a secretary pro tem. Commissioner Trump, you be secretary pro tem for us to call the roll.
You know how I want to do it.
Okay, thank you for being willing.
Joseph Downey. Tammy Lambert. Here. Hazel Vella. Here. State Church Laura Montoya, and Maya Designee.
Present.
Public Regulation Commission Chair Pat O'Connell, or Designee Mikhail Carroll.
Present.
Secretary of State Sharon Pino Designee.
Present.
Commissioner Oscar Robinson. Donnie's here. Commissioner Brandon Stone.
Let's see, this Commissioner Rodney right here.
Are you present?
Yes, okay.
Carolyn Clark, present. Vice Chair Constant Williams.
Did y'all call me?
Yes. Commissioner Anthony Umi
Present.
and Chair Lila West.
Present. Okay, and with that, with at least,
Sorry.
all right, somebody was wanting to say something, go ahead. Online. A roll call?
Yeah, I think it was Commissioner Williams. She was trying to talk.
Vice Chair, did you have something you wanted to say? We have you down, yes, we have you down as present. I have you down as one of 9 present for the roll call. And with 9 commissioners present, I did find a quorum of commission to be present. And with that, we can move on to approval of the agenda. Is there a motion for approval of the agenda?
I motion it.
That sound, is that perhaps coming from someone who's online?
No, that's gonna.
If folks who are online and not speaking, if you could mute, because we're getting some sound coming through in the meeting. And I think the second came from Commissioner Carroll on approval of the agenda. Any discussion?
Yes, it
on
did.
approval? Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, Secretary Rodriguez, call the roll.
Commissioner Dabney.
Yeah.
Judge Lambert. Commissioner Hazel May.
Here.
Yes.
Yes.
Designee Commissioner Christine Anaya.
Yes.
Commissioner Carroll.
Yes.
Commissioner Shampino.
Yes.
Commissioner Robinson.
He's not, he wanted to join virtually, but the power's out.
Okay. Yes, for me. Commissioner Stone? Commissioner Trump? Commissioner Vice Chair Williams? Commissioner Williams, do you approve the agenda?
The vice chair is no longer on the virtual meeting.
Oh, okay. Commissioner Louis? Yes. Chairman? West?
Yes.
Motion carries.
What was the vote count?
Eleven. That's this.
Oh, we sure, I did, because when we did the roll call with the forum, we only had 9 commissioners present.
Sure.
Yes. And then the vice chair didn't vote on that because she was offline.
Chairman,
Go ahead, Commissioner Knight.
sorry, the audio quality is just kind of breaking in and out. I just wanted to see if maybe I'm not sure what type of microphone is there, but maybe it can be moved or adjusted a little bit.
And thank you for letting us know about that. The executive director is working on that now.
Thank you all.
It's the aisle microphone, and the executive director had tried to make sure that it would pick up everybody by putting it on a separate table that's in the center of the room. But it's being adjusted some more here. Is there a specific person, Commissioner, that you are having trouble hearing, or is it across the board, everyone?
I could hear Commissioner Ruthini and I can hear you, but I couldn't hear anyone else.
Okay. But, if you don't mind, during through who you have as voting yes on that motion.
Okay, I have West.
Oh, hang on real quick. Let's make sure, let's try this. Let's make sure that we all speak up. And Commissioner Naya, let us know if you're unable to hear anyone at any time. So we don't want.
Of course, Chairman.
Okay, thank you for that. And hopefully the adjustment here and speaking up fixes that issue. If not, Commissioner Naya or anybody else online or can let us know. Member of the public or member of the commission. If you can't hear us, let us know. And then, so with that.
So we have 10 commissioners present, so we have 10 yeses.
Okay, before the 10 that you have present.
We have West, Williams, Frog, Stone, me, Pino, Parole, Anaya, Melly.
Okay, that sounds right. So 10 in favor and none opposed, the motion carries. Okay. Okay, good. And Vice Chair may be back. Not
Yes,
sure. Oh, okay, okay, good. Thank you, Vice Chair, for confirming. You missed the vote on approval of the agenda because you had apparently dropped off there for a minute virtually. Just FYI.
thank you. I do. I'm with it though. Thank you.
Oh, okay, all right. So,
That's it.
all right, so we're good. So on to the next item on the agenda is election of officers. So commissioners, since it's the annual meeting, according to our bylaws, we are having an election of officers. And, as for procedure for that, the bylaws state that, any commissioner wishing to serve as an officer shall announce their candidacy for or at the annual meeting and give a short statement of interest for the vote. So, what we'll do is, for each of the 3 offices, we'll open the floor for announcement of candidacies, because I'm not aware of anyone having announced for this week. So we'll open the floor for announcements of candidacies. We will then, once we've received announcements, close the floor for announcements of candidacies. proceed to any statements of interest, and then proceed to the roll call. And so, starting first with chair, we'll open the floor for announcements of the candidates for chair of the commission. Having done that, I will let the commissioners know that I'd be willing to serve as chair of the commission going forward. I do have some news about that related to that. I recently completed my first 4-year term as a commissioner, and I have recently been reappointed to a second 4-year term by the Speaker of the House, Javier Martinez, and I have copies of that letter. I know it has been shared with the Executive Director of the Commission as well. So, are there any other announcements of candidates for the position of Chair of the Commission? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to close the floor for announcements of candidates for Chair of the Commission?
Motion.
Okay, Commissioner Stone had your motion, and if it's okay, you can take a second. Motion is to close the floor for announcements of candidates for Chair of the Commission, seconded by Commissioner Carroll. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Secretary Rosini to call the roll.
Commissioner Elliott,
Yes.
Commissioner Anaya,
Abstain.
Commissioner Carroll,
Yes.
Commissioner Pino,
Yes.
Oscar Robinson, you back? Commissioner Robinson? I vote yes. Commissioner Stone?
Yes.
Commissioner Trout?
Yes.
Commissioner Vasha Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Umi?
Yes.
Do I ask you?
Yes, because, under our bylaws, everybody's required to vote. And
All right, well, let me ask you.
It,
Ask, sir.
how do you vote? I vote yes to close nominations or close the floor to announcements of candidates for chair. So with that, we have one announced candidate for chair of the commission, and that was me. And the bylaws now I'm required to give a short statement of interest. And so I'll do that. So for everyone who was here back when I first stood for election for chair 8 months ago, I think we all agree that it was not under ideal circumstances. The commission hadn't made quorum in 7 months. And the previous chair had resigned, the previous executive director had resigned. Yeah, we were under a lot of immediate pressure for a lot of things that should have already been taken care of. And weren't. And a lot of those issues were made worse because the commissioners were in the dark about a lot of things and they couldn't get clear answers. So when I first stood for election as chair, I explicitly pledged to the commission that we would pursue transparency, accountability, and complying. And together, I believe we have done that. And I put emphasis on together. And I want to thank all of you commissioners for those who were here in October and for those who have joined the commission since, for supporting that vision that I realized in that under pressure circumstance that I had, that the commission could do better. And maybe I could have a role in helping it to do better. And you all have gifted me good counsel, and it has been to good effect. The commission has substantially improved from where it was 8 months ago. Of that, I am sure. And yet, we still have a lot of improvement to make and a lot more work to do. And we're well situated to continue to raise that bar We have hired a great executive director. We had a strategic planning process to inform our work going forward. And we have received a great investment in the budget resources from the legislature to help us make those improvements actually happen. So the bottom line is, you know, in these past 8 months, it hasn't been easy. But we have worked hard. And I'm proud of the commission's progress over the past 8 months as I sit here today as chair. And I'd be honored to continue to do my part to put respect on the name of Dr. King going forward. So with that, we proceed to the vote on the position of chair. And Secretary Rossini, please to call the roll.
Commissioner.
Yes.
Yes.
So on this, I think procedurally, you may have to say a name for a specific candidate.
Commissioner Anaya.
Chairman, I'm sorry. Earlier, when I abstained from the vote, I abstained because I had to take a call from staff and I didn't hear what we were voting on.
Oh, the vote
Could I
that
get
you
a brief,
abstained on-
could I just get a brief summary?
Yeah, the vote that you abstained on earlier was the vote to close the floor for announcements of candidates for the position of chair. So we asked if there were candidates. We had one announced candidate, that was me. And so we asked if there were any others, and hearing none, I asked if there was a motion to close the floor to announcements of further candidates. That was the vote that you abstained on.
Okay,
Then-
thank you.
Okay, so that motion carried. And so
Yes.
what we're voting on now is for chair of the commission. And so if that answers your question, the secretary can resume with the roll call.
Yes, it does. And I will go ahead and vote yes for West.
Commissioner Carroll.
Yes for Little West.
Commissioner Pino.
Yes.
Anybody in particular?
West?
Commissioner Robinson, are you here? Oh, that's slow. Yes, progress. All right. Commissioner Stone. Commissioner Trump.
Chair West, yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes for West.
Commissioner Hoagie. Yes, please. Commissioner West.
Yes, for West.
Yes, it has. Motion carries.
Okay, what was the vote count on that, Mr. Secretary?
Let's look on 10. On the 10.
Okay.
Just on here.
Okay, 10 in favor, none opposed, and with that, Chair West I am re-elected chair of the commission. So, we move to the next item. Thank you, commissioners, for that, and I look forward to serving. And I do my best. And with that, we move on to the next item, candidates for vice chair. We will open the floor for announcements of candidates for vice chair. Are there any commissioner wishing to serve as vice chair of the commission would like to announce candidacy?
Hello, Vice Chair West, this is Constance, or Vice Chair West, Vice Chair, Chair West, this is Vice Chair Williams, and I would like to, I guess, self-nominate, or,
Yeah, that's perfect, because that's what the bylaws require. You have to announce your candidacy. That's what our bylaws say. So there's no shame in self-nominating. It is you supposed to announce your candidate. That's what our bylaws say. So, thank you for announcing your candidacy, Vice Chair, for the position of Vice Chair. Are there any other, commissioners wishing to announce a candidacy for the position of Vice Chair? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to close the floor for announcements of candidacies for the office of Vice Chair?
Motion closed.
All right, the motion is from Secretary Radini. Is there a second?
A second.
And the second is from Commissioner Melvin. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, the secretary to call the roll.
Commissioner Amelia,
Yes.
Commissioner Anaya,
Yes, for Williams.
Commissioner Carroll,
Yes, for Williams.
Commissioner Pino,
Yes, for Williams.
Commissioner Robinson, you there? Secretary, Amy, yes, for Williams. Commissioner Snow,
Yes, for Williams.
Commissioner Trump,
Williams.
Commissioner Williams, how do you vote?
yes, for Williams.
Commissioner Helmy? Yes, for Williams. Chairman West,
Yes, for Williams. And, I gotta point something out here. I forgot to specifically ask, the vice chair if she had a further statement of interest that she wanted to make before the vote. She definitely made a statement of interest, but she could have made a further one if she wanted to. Vice Chair, I hope I did not, miss an opportunity for you to say more before the vote, but it
No,
didn't prejudice you. Go ahead, Vice Chair.
Alrighty, thank you, Chair West. No, I was thinking about that mid-vote, so, hello, everybody. I know most of you, some of you I do not know. My name is Constance Williams, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I have been on the vice chair, or been in the vice chair position since October. As Chair West had mentioned, there was a lot of kind of turmoil. I've been very happy to serve in this role for the last 8 months. So there's been a lot of effort and action that has happened over this time period, and I would like to complete a full term or a full, year or so in the space, just until the next annual meeting that we have, and really look forward to working with Executive Director Curvin. She's done excellent. We had the youth conference just this past week over here in Clovis, and so just a lot of things happening. So if you would, I would appreciate your vote in this position. Thank you.
Good. And you hadn't even finished your roll call, had you?
but I was it.
And I voted for you, right? Good. And now look, based on her statement of interest. So we're gonna say that she gave her statement of interest before the vote. Anybody want to change their vote? Just saying, because the vote is not closed yet, so she gave her statement of interest. And we're just making it clear that this is before the vote is closed. So nobody wants to change their vote? Hearing none, what's the vote count on that? And in favor and none opposed. So the motion carries in favor of Vice Chair Williams as the Vice Chair of the Commission to serve in the next term. Vice Chair, congratulations to you. Thank you for being willing to serve. And thank you for giving your statement of interest, kind of on the spot there at the end, because I didn't mean to do that. That was my oversight. All right, so that takes us to our next officer role. I will be sure to get this one right this time. We will open the floor for announcements of candidates for secretary of the commission. Is there anyone who would like to announce a candidacy to be secretary of the commission?
And y'all want it? I'm about to nominate somebody. I'm about to nominate Carol.
Thanks for that.
Uh,
Nominate. I had my hand up, my virtual hand up. I
Oh, yeah,
appreciate that.
virtual hand
Yeah.
up. Okay, Commissioner Carroll, let's go to Commissioner Carroll. As nominated by current Secretary of Rotating, Commissioner Carroll, you recognize.
Thank you for that. For those who don't know me, I'm the PRC, the Public Regulation Commission designee, and I joined the commission a little after the hoopla that happened from the previous administration. So I've seen a lot happen in my short time here. Probably been 6-7 months, and I've seen a lot. I want to commend the team, including Chair West, and I'd be happy to help keep this momentum going.
All right, thank you for announcing your candidacy. Anyone else would like to announce the candidacy for position of Secretary of the Commission? Hearing none, is there a motion to close the floor for announcements of candidates for Secretary of the Commission?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, the motion is from the Vice Chair is to close the floor for announcements of candidacies for Secretary of the Commission. Is there a second?
Second motion.
Seconded by Dr. Millie. Is there discussion? Hearing none, the Secretary to call the roll.
Commissioner Amelia.
Yes to Carol.
Yes to Carol.
Hang on just a second before we go through. Are we satisfied that what Commissioner Carroll said to us? Introduction of himself is a sufficient statement of interest? Or did Commissioner Carroll, did you have? A statement of interest before we go to the roll call? What lawyer is asking?
I think I'm fine with my statement.
Okay, thank you, counsel. I appreciate that. We have, by the way, we have counsel, Mr. Eduardo Ugarte is filling in for counsel. He usually helps us because our normal counsel is being trained. That's a good sign. We want them to stay trained up. And so Mr. Ugarte does not need that training apparently. So we may have trade or possibly do the trade up. Okay, but thank you for being here and helping us out today. And with that, Secretary, to continue with the roll call.
Commissioner Anaya.
Yes for Creel.
That was yes for Carol.
Yes for Kroll.
Commissioner Carol, how do you vote?
Yes for me.
Commissioner Pena.
Yes for Kroll.
Commissioner Robinson, are you there? Oh, now it's on me. May I got a statement before I cast my vote?
That is probably most appropriate. You do it, explain your vote after. That's a proper procedure. You will, I would actually explain your vote after, yeah.
Okay, my vote is yes for Carol.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once we finish.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Stone. Commissioner Trout. Commissioner Williams.
Yes for Carol.
Commissioner Umi. Yes for Carol. Cameron West.
Yes, for Corolla. And then I'll explain my vote too. So, but Commissioner Rubin to explain his vote.
It has been my privilege and my honor to serve as secretary. It came as a big surprise to me. But I had an objective on coming to the commission. My objective has been completed. I have some other things that I need to attend to. And I believe that what is needed for the next step is an evolution. And that evolution should be somebody that can hold it down and push it up, which is why I also nominated. So thank you. And thank you all.
Yeah, and Commissioner Rodanian will also in like fashion explain my vote. Really appreciate what you have done as secretary of this commission. Just to remind everybody, you stepped up to become secretary of the commission. We had at that same October meeting, elected a secretary. The secretary resigned within a month after that meeting. And you stepped up right away and said, we're not gonna leave any office in the commission vacant. And so you stepped up and you have helped out and have been a great part of the team in helping keep the ship steady these past 8 months. Over and beyond just being a secretary. So you know, I absolutely, it's sad to see you rotate out of an officer position. At the same time, I also have deep respect for Commissioner Corolla, have seen him do great things, have seen him stepping up in these past 8 months as well as the chair of the Bylaws and Policies and Procedures Committee, as a member of the Strategic Planning Committee, is volunteering on different things. And so you, Commissioner Corolla, the other commissioners, I have said it before and I'll say it again. We have to be thankful to, everyone who's appointed these commissioners, because this is really a great team to get this commission going in the right direction. And so thank you for being an important part of that as secretary. Thanks to Mr. Corolla for being part of that. It's, picking up, with your nomination and with his candidacy. So with that, you announce the vote count on the motion so we can officially make Commissioner Corolla secretary? What was the vote count on that motion?
Wow, Commissioner Corolla, you got it unanimous, brother. 10 stacked on you.
10 stacked in favor and none stacked opposed. Okay, so Mr. Corolla,
Congratulations.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. And thank you, Commissioner Raffini. This is big shoes to follow, big shoes to fill.
Congratulations to everybody, to all the officers for being willing to serve. It is important work and in an important time. So we appreciate that. So with that, we can move on to the next item of the agenda. Approval of the minutes from May 30, 2025.
And move to approve.
Thank you, Doctor, for the motion to approve. Is there a second? And second is from Commissioner Trog. And I have a question. I think on the draft, there was a couple links in there that were highlighted. And I think the highlights were there for us to confirm that the links were correct. And then I think there are a couple in the draft, a couple of comments. So just a couple of clerical things that need to be confirmed and corrected. I think the comments about what the attachments are need to be removed, and the actual attachments, which I think are there, leave them there, but the comments can be removed just to clean up. And then just confirming that the links to the YouTube, because we decided that, in the interest of transparency, we would put the YouTube links in our minutes. So if you have the minutes, you also have access to the videos from the meeting. Well, I want to just confirm, because the highlight is there. And in my mind, the highlight may mean that we just need to confirm that those links are correct. So with that clarification to the motion, can we just make those clerical corrections, technical corrections clean up? And with that, I support the motion to approve the minutes. So can you accept that little small technical, small amendment to your motion? Doctor,
I motion to,
I think, all you might have to do is say, yeah, I can use that amendment,
yes, I agree with that.
right, council? Okay, so any further discussion? Hearing none. Secretary, call the roll.
And my secretary. Ooh. I mean, hey, look, hey, let me get one more. Secretary Carol, can I get one more out the way? What's up,
Definitely,
brother?
definitely. You could definitely get one more out the way, knock it out.
Because he doesn't have the actual role, right? And I can't physically hand it to the new secretary. So Secretary Pro Tem, call the roll.
Oh. I'm sorry, what was that you called me?
The Secretary Pro Tem.
Okay, I like it.
That's it.
Yeah, nice to meet
Yeah.
you. All right. Commissioner Melia,
Yes.
gonna approve these minutes. Commissioner Anaya,
Yes.
Secretary Carol,
Yes.
Commissioner Pena. Pino.
Yes.
Commissioner Robinson, are you there? Yes. Commissioner Stone.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Yep.
How do you vote?
I work for it. Oh, proof. Yes, I worked. Proof that.
Vice Chair,
Yes, for Carol.
approval of the minutes.
Vice Chair, we're ready to approve.
My bad, yes, my bad. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes, approval of the minutes, yes.
Secretary Carol, are you observing?
I am, yes.
Commissioner Looney,
You said yes?
yes, all right. Chairman, yes.
Right. We got all 10.
Okay,
Approving.
10 in favor, none opposed, motion carries. So the next item on our agenda is public comment. At this time, we received any public comment, excuse me. If there are any members of the public present who wish to provide public comment, please raise your hand, either in person or online. I don't see anybody in person. If there's anybody online, I'm gonna ask the executive director to let me know. Okay, if you're having trouble raising your hand online, if you want to, just, go ahead and speak or make sure to unmute yourself. So we can know that you want to say something. That's fine too. Okay, so hearing none. We'll move on to the next item of business. Our executive director report and presentation.
All right, can everyone hear me online? Maybe,
Copy,
Yes.
can hear you loud and clear.
all right. Thank you all for being here today. Welcome. And here is my second executive director report. I want to update you all on my onboarding and orientation status. So as of today, I've completed 38 hours of training. I have 2 upcoming trainings, that being the Chief Procurement Officer training, the Defensive Driver training, and I'm going to try to get my nonviolence training with the King Center in July. Also, I'm continuing to do inventory of the commission's property and storage. I did go into the storage and try to find you all those black commissioner polos, but they're not in there. We have a large amount of t-shirts from previous programming, like the Inner Beauty Summit that I'm looking to give away or recycle or do something with, so they're not just sitting in the storage unit of the commission. I'm also trying to get rid of any swag the commission has, so stop by, don't stop by. Stop by today. Come by next week and grab a tumbler or a water bottle. Don't come in there today. Continuing to distribute the strategic planning survey. So far we have, well, you'll hear about that from that committee report, so I'll save that. But next steps, again, continuing to working on organizational stability, hiring additional staff members, which was also on your agenda for today, contractual roles, employees via the Department of Workforce Solutions. And then I've continued on with my community outreach. So last time you all saw me, I believe I visited 2 churches. I've visited one more, Mount Olive Baptist Church, and I'll be going to another this Sunday. Haven't decided which. If you have a recommendation, let me know. I successfully completed the Juneteenth tour. So I was able to visit the Juneteenth celebration in Hobbs, New Mexico. I then traveled to Las Cruces, New Mexico, and attended the Juneteenth banquet. Before all that, I did attend the Albuquerque Juneteenth, and thank you all for those who came and volunteered to table. I really appreciated your time. Continuing to get people signed up to want to be in the Beloved Community Network, as well as the Beloved Community Newsletter. And those are both the communications that will go directly to those who opt in on different updates from the commission, what the commission has going on. Financial update. I want to give the disclaimer. I'm not an accountant. This may not be what you're used to from our former CFO Jennings. I did the absolute best that I could, and I'm continuing to work on it. But we did do the budget adjustment request, which is why you'll see some changes in the 200, 300, and 400 categories. You will see that we have about a little over $14,000 in projected expenses. That's not including smaller things like trying to get the last of our Sharp bill paid, which is for the printer. I'm waiting on a revised invoice from Quadient because the one they gave me is not acceptable. And you may even also see some changes when it comes to encumbrances, because I found some encumbered purchase orders that have not received invoices from very early in this fiscal year. Specifically, if anyone has a contact at the City of Portales Intercultural Affairs for Fiesta de Familia, that is an invoice that wasn't received and money that's encumbered but has not been expended. Moreover, you have in front of you in that there's a more detail of what that $11,000 is in the other costs in the 400 category. It's for our videographer, for the statewide community meeting, for our speaker, for our venue. And it's just because those purchase orders have been submitted but not approved, so they haven't been encumbered yet. In addition to that, I have books from the King Center that still need to be accounted for. And there's a few other things on that list, but yes. Auditor selection status. So our auditor has been selected. It's Jaramillo Accounting Group. We have an entrance meeting on June 30th at 2 p.m. via Zoom. The outstanding task is the PBC list from the previous year. I'm currently searching for it and awaiting for that document to be submitted by the CFO. All right. We had the 2025 Youth Leadership Conference in Clovis, New Mexico, Mapping the Dream. I want to thank all the commissioners who came. That was super supportive. Definitely want to shout out the Clovis Commission for helping. And then I just have a quick overview and recap of that conference. So you'll see for the budget, we spent $31,453.32 on that conference. We had 39 students register. You don't see 39 students in that picture. We had a combination of people who registered and didn't show up, and on-site registrations, people who came to the sneaker ball but didn't come to sessions, those types of things. We had 7 volunteers, and I just have to shout out our amazing volunteers who were instrumental to the success of the conference. And then state and local commissioners, we had 5 in attendance. Some strengths, the theme I thought was really good. Of course, I picked it. The session quality, we had amazing speakers and our keynote speaker was received very well. The students enjoyed the conference experience. The volunteer support again was amazing. Any hiccup that I had or last minute thing, I was able to lean on those volunteers and I'm gonna have to shout them out on social media or something because they were great. And I believe they were all but two were local to Clovis. Weaknesses, so time to plan and advertise. Yeah, and this was planned in maybe 2 months, maybe less. So of course, we'll have more time for the next one. That was a weakness. Statewide outreach. So I think setting a goal for the next conference to have at least one student from each county would be a good goal. Media coverage. I had submitted to some radio stations and some Eastern New Mexico news to cover, but we didn't get much of a response. There was some coverage on PBS. And I have failed to include that link somewhere, but I'll send it out. And then attendance. I think that the attendance was great. The number of registered.
I think we also, on my website,
Yes, you did. Thank you so much. Yes, you did. The attendance, of course, I would like to see an increase in attendance. I want to impact more youth in the state. But given the time and all the other things, I think 39 registrants is great. I think the amount of students we got to show up and attend is also great. Opportunities, so adding excursions. There are a few things in Clovis that the students could have went and got to see, but I think time impacted that. Group engagement, so allowing the students an opportunity to network with each other and share ideas without the adults kind of steering the conversation maybe. And student-led sessions, so maybe bringing in some senior high school students or even juniors or any student that has a well put together presentation to help their peers as well as collegiate students. And then maybe a service/project-based learning session for the students to do something hands-on or to go out in the community and do something hands-on. So those are all opportunities for next time. The threat is rural areas. So when I'm scoping out where we're going to take the conference to next, we have to have the infrastructure to host multiple sessions at once, as well as the technology and things required and this really just space as well. And then also thinking about if we're going to bring in speakers who might be flying in from bigger cities, they might have to fly to a nearby city and drive over to this rural area. So just those types of things to consider. And then competing camps. It's summertime, it's June. There were a lot of different camps going on at the same time. So finding the sweet spot of when is the best time to host this conference to get maximum participation. Age appropriate curriculum. So we had good quality sessions. I would like to be able to maybe have different tracks so that sixth graders are getting things that are catering to their sixth grade experience. Our seniors, 12th graders are getting things that are catering specific to their senior about to enter into the world type of experience. And then staffing. We need more than one staff member to pull out the conference. I'm not doing that. I'll tell y'all that right now. All right. So there's a good picture of everyone. I have a video.
Is there volume?
as an exclusive that will be on social media today. And I still need to reach out to our youth conference participants to get them to fill out, instead of having a separate conference survey, I'm just gonna have them fill out the strategic planning survey. Give them the context, they can talk about their conference experience in it. But before I could even do that, we had a participant send me an email. I'm thinking as he was on the bus on his way back home. And I want to read that to you all because I think it affirms the attended learning outcomes were met. So it says, I hope you all are well and getting some much needed rest after all the hard work that you and your staff poured into making the Mapping the Dream Youth Leadership Conference such a fun and impactful experience. Every presenter brought valuable and relatable insights. I especially want to thank you for choosing Mr. Consciously as the keynote speaker. His presentation didn't just resonate with me, it mirrored many of my own aspirations. One of the things that really struck a deep chord with me was his encouragement for us to be ourselves unapologetically, because it's easy to get caught up in shrinking yourself to please other people. The first conference that I attended in 2023 was overcrowded and busy. This conference created so many positive vibes and it allowed for learning to feel more personal and engaging, and it gave me the tools necessary to create my own personal blueprint. Although I have not yet made up my mind about what career path I want to take in the future, I left the conference feeling both seen as a youth and empowered to apply all the lessons learned to my personal journey. Thank you for creating a conference that not only positively impacted me, but also the community as a whole. If you are ever in need of youth volunteers, please do not hesitate to reach out. And this is from Mr. Makai Bradford, who is a 2025.
What else is going?
Oh, see, I don't know off the top of my head. You gotta be in high school.
I see. Something like that.
He is an amazing man. We would like you to be seeing him again.
Absolutely.
So from you, for the next youth leadership conference, I did ask the students while we were there, where do y'all want to go next? Some mentioned Carlsbad, New Mexico, with the attraction of the Carlsbad Caverns. And I actually got to drive through there on the Juneteenth tour to scope out where it could possibly happen. And they have a civic center, so maybe. Las Vegas, New Mexico was recommended. Also a very good location. If you've never been out there, I don't know if a lot of people know, Las Vegas has the United Road College, which could be really cool for the students to see. And then, of course, Roswell, New Mexico has the whole Indian attraction. It would be out of this world. Darlington. Oh, and Bluffton, yes, not, okay. Tentative dates, and this is just me briefly looking at the calendar to see, what is not Juneteenth weekend. Just because I left the conference and then drove to Hobbs, and I don't know if that would be the best idea for next time. And then taking into account the end of the fiscal year, I'm not sure what would be the most efficient date, but these are some tentative dates that I've thrown out there, aren't set in stone. Moving on from Youth Leadership Conference, the reversion deadline and bar status. So our last day to submit the fiscal year reversion notification forms to the Fiscal Control Department is August 29th. The last day to submit the fiscal year reversion, fiscal year 2025 reversion operating transfers to the Fiscal Control Department is September 30th. I'm estimating the reversion to be about $34,000, $34,475.43. And that is about a little bit under what was reverted last year. Last year, the reversion was about $35,304, and I want to say 40 cents. The bar status has been completed, and thank you so much to the Departments of Finance and Administration who processed it in a timely fashion so that we could even have our youth leadership conference, because we were in a bit of a situation with that. I want to go back just to the reversion. I know that the commission had expressed wanting to expend those funds as much as possible so that we wouldn't have as big as a reversion as the previous year. However, moving the conference from Albuquerque to Clovis created a decrease in the cost of the overall conference because of where we were at. In addition to that, the timing of me needing to learn how to expend the funds and be fiscally responsible and what we had just for not allowing for this reversion to be spent how we wished. And even in trying to, a really great idea was brought up last meeting. Let's contact the people that we funded previously and see if there's ways we can support them this year. That is a great idea, and I think it would have been able to been executed if I had some additional help, because I don't have, I have I know who we funded last year, I have that list. There's not contact information attached to the list that I have. So with those things, we are looking at a reversion. I'm gonna try my best within the next 24 hours to do what I can. But I just didn't want you all to be surprised by that. That's the last thing, and then I just wanna again, invite you all to the statewide community meeting that's gonna be happening here at the Sheraton tomorrow, 5 to 8. We have a keynote speaker that I was able to get swiftly. He spoke at the Juneteenth banquet and he was nothing short of amazing. I'm so grateful to him for agreeing to come at such a last minute short notice to come and speak, but I think it's gonna frame the conversations that we'll have during this meeting. He'll only speak for about 45 minutes and then we're gonna break into some different tables to do some work, like working sessions on different topics related to the commission's mission. Those 5 components in the mission will be the themes of each table. So please invite your friends. They don't have to RSVP, but it'd be great because we are serving food. So we first come, first serve at this point, but please send this out and I would love for you all to attend. I will now take any questions.
Any questions for the executive director? Report.
Chairman, I'm not sure if anyone in there has any, but I do have a comment and some questions.
Sure, we'll go first to Commissioner Nye and then to Commissioner Corolla. Commissioner Nye.
Thank you, Chairman. First, thank you, Executive Director. I know that you coming on board late in the game and having to plan the event, so with such short notice was probably a challenge, but you succeeded and congratulations on that. The video you shared with us was a beautiful event and I think you did an amazing job. That's my comment, and thank you to all the commissioners who were able to attend and be there to support you as well.
Thank you.
And then the questions I have, on the encumbered POs, do you happen to have a total amount for the invoices that were not paid on those encumbered POs? And will that amount be released and put back into your reversion amount?
I don't have a total amount. I know that some of it is just that some of the like Staples purchase orders were for more than what was actually spent. So I need to go in and change it. So it'll range from like $20 to $50. The
Okay.
biggest one is the $1,500 purchase order for the city of Portales. That was for a funding proposal to support an event by I think it's Intercultural Affairs for the Fiesta de Familia. And I tried to contact the contact person on that funding proposal and haven't gotten a response. So that $1,500, yes, will go back to and with the reversion.
Thank you. And for the auditor selection, your note indicated that you've requested the PBC list from last year, and that one is pending to be provided to you. Did you also receive a PBC list from the auditors yet, or that's something that we just haven't received because we haven't met with them?
I believe it's something we haven't received because we haven't met with them. They asked me first, I believe Treasurer Montoya asked to ask them for a PBC list, and before I could ask them, they asked for the one from last year.
Okay. And then just a couple questions on the Youth Leadership Conference, your breakdown of the totals. You did mention that all but 2 of the youth were local, but it shows transportation of 9,631. What was the
Yeah.
transportation cost?
So I stated that all but 2 of the volunteers were local.
Oh, okay, so
So
all
we
the
had
students were
2.
bussed in?
Not all students were bused in, so the transportation, there were 2 components to it. We had a bus to transport students from Albuquerque to Clovis to attend, which is where we had 2 Albuquerque volunteers on that bus with those students. And then in conversation with the Clovis Commission and Clovis community, it was brought to my attention that transportation to the conference might be a barrier, because not all the parents may have vehicles, or they may have to work or something of that sort. So we provided a shuttle service.
Okay. And then the last question I had was, I didn't see who your speakers were. I know you had mentioned in a previous commission meeting that you had a couple being flown in from out of state. Were they able to attend?
Yes, so we had one speaker flown in from out of state, Mr. Conscious Lee, of George Lee Speaks. He was kind of our main speaker who did cost, the most out of all the speakers. The other three were local, community members of Clovis, including Vice Chair Williams, Dr. Carlton Lewis, and Mrs. Janice Martinez.
Awesome, thank you. And Chairman, that's all the questions I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate your questions, and then we'll go over to Secretary Corral.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Executive Director. Just a quick question about the statewide meeting tomorrow, or I mean, the meeting tomorrow. What topics will happen in the breakout session?
Yes, I don't know off the top of my head, 1 second, and I should, give me 1 second.
And yeah, I think
So
it's a
the
really
diff-
great idea to do that, by the way, to have a breakout session involved in that. But I'm sorry.
Thank you so much. So the different sessions will be labeled, or the different tables, I'll say, will be labeled directly from the commission's vision. So there'll be a table where the group will be speaking about human rights. One table will be equality, one table will be nonviolence, one table will be social change, and one table will be unity/interconnectedness. The keynote speaker beforehand will be speaking to all 5 of those subjects before people break out into discussion.
Thank you. And who is the keynote speaker again?
His name is Mr. Michael Brady of El Paso, Texas.
Thank you.
Anything else, Secretary Corral?
No, Chair. No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else with any questions or comments for the Executive Director on the report?
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, Commissioner Wood.
so I think it's, for people who do not know what it took to get the new budget we have right now, those consistent trips, that all of us had to take at the Capitol, y'all have no idea. Constance probably drove 20 hours to be at the legislature so we get that money. So what I want to let you know is the amount of ties we had to pull into a room to get the money. They're going to be wanting to know this next year when you come to report. So I don't want you to forget your statement of why you had the reversion, because we had the historical bill passed by Senator Stewart that, and then we have money we haven't had for a long time. So when you go make this ever. So when you go to make your statement in front of these people, do not forget this moment.
I won't.
Okay.
Well, and look, just to fill everybody in on the recent conversation I had with the Executive Director, we have a ready explanation for this reversion, which is, and I shared this with her. I said, you know, all of this is related to transition. In the time that I've been the chair, the past 8 months, we had one Executive Director for a matter of hours, another acting director for a matter of months, and now we have an Executive Director for a matter of weeks. So with that in mind, you can imagine, and then during that time at our commission meeting in March, we were being told that we were projected to be over budget, potentially. So then as the new executive director comes on, we're seeing something different. And so with the transition between the staff and the difference in the information that we are getting about where our projection would end up, there, under those circumstances, it's not surprising that there might be something of a reversion at the end of the year. So I just to put things in context. So when we get ready to go back next year to the legislators, if anybody asks us about reversion, we're ready to explain it. And I think that folks will be understanding. Because, I can articulate that. Hopefully I have done that well right here, right now. I know the executive director can do it. I know you can do it. I know the vice chair can do it because we were all, and no Secretary Crowell can do it because all of us were there talking to legislators this past session, explaining all the things in a way that, you know, worked out well for us in terms of our budget. So. All right, any other questions, comments? For the executive director on the report? Yes, sir. Council, yes, sir.
Do we have copies of contracts for whoever received grants this last year?
They don't have a contract, they have a funding proposal that they fill out via the commission's website, and then when we receive that proposal, I write up, well, I'm gonna not say I've only written maybe 3 to 5, maybe more, a white paper to explain to DFA why this money should be expended and how it's part of the commission statute to support the community in this, with this service.
Does the recipient sign anything, that white paper or anything,
The recipient signs the funding proposal.
which is the initial submission?
Yes.
The reason I'm asking, if there's another commission member on there, they give grantees funds,
Mhm.
and then they amend that throughout the year, with either increases or decreases. So that's a possibility. I'm just thinking out loud that I know there's not many things left, but if whatever that vehicle that gave the initial grant, it can be amended to say, now we're adding 5,000 or 10,000, whatever the amount is, to the various grants.
Okay,
I think that I tried to do something similar for Albuquerque Juneteenth. They requested a certain amount and I wanted to increase it. And when I took that to DFA, they said that exceeds what they asked for in the sponsorship package that they attached. So they have to, the initial amount that they approached the commission with is what DFA prefers to be moved forward with.
if it works on your other commission, it causes me to wonder if there's not some type of a procedure that would allow it to happen. What I'm gonna suggest, Executive Director and Mr. Ugarte, is maybe even outside of after this meeting, if y'all two have a conversation, we may be able to pick up something from what it is that this other commission is doing that may potentially help us in the next 5 days. Declaration.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Madam Miracle Worker. And with that, any other questions, comments, suggestions, anything for Executive Director on her report? Hearing none, we can move on to the next item of business, which is bylaws and policy procedures review committee report. The chair of the committee is Secretary Crowell. Secretary Crowell, do you have a report on behalf of that committee?
Yes, I do, but I have some notes I want to look up real quick. Hold on.
Sure, yeah,
Apologies.
we'll stand by.
Yeah, so, and I want to say thank you to everybody who was part of the committee. We have completed it, but I'd like to ask everybody, I'd like to raise a motion actually to amend the articles, to amend Article 7 of the bylaws. But before I get into that, let me just give you a quick synopsis of what we've done in terms of changes in our policy and this will be mailed out to the commission, of course. In terms of policy and procedures manual, we've linked Dr. King's, and this is for anyone who hasn't seen it before, we've linked each of Dr. King's values, 6 principles of nonviolence in our missions and values section, have refreshed that. We've expanded definitions and we've refined definitions of things like financial interest. We made sure that the language was very, very easy for people to read, as in, making sure every acronym was spelled out. And in terms of the bylaws, we've formalized our officer elections sections, our executive director oversight, and our governance reviews. And we've made sure that both documents now cite the New Mexico statutes and DFA modeling accounting practices. Let me pull up bylaw 7 is something I'd like to make a motion for. Okay, so Article 7, Section B of the bylaws, it states that in its relation to this committee, it states that the committee shall submit a report to the commission at wide within 90 days of staffing of the subcommittee. We'd like to amend that motion. We'd like to amend that section and include a sentence that says, such report shall be submitted to the commission within 90 days of the staffing of the subcommittee unless otherwise determined by the commission. So that is the first motion I'd like to raise.
All right, so there's a motion to amend the bylaws in Article 7B, add the phrase unless otherwise determined by the commission. At the end of that last paragraph there, it's section B, Article 7, section B. And is there a second to the motion that we can discuss? Okay, as chair, I'll second the motion, but we can discuss it. Secretary Crowell, why is the committee suggesting that we make this amendment to the bylaws? In this instance?
It's a great question, Chair. So the reason that we're making the suggestion, so we can ask for, this would lead to a second motion so we could extend our deadline and submit the report at our next meeting.
Okay, all right. And then why would we want to make the report at the next meeting versus this meeting?
Another great follow-up question, Chair. That's because at the length of the bylaws and policies right now are more than 50 pages. And because this is our big state annual meeting, we would not want to use the portion of this meeting going over that page by page. So we want to give members of the commission more time to address it.
Okay, so if we were to amend the bylaws to allow the committee and the commissioners more time, then those 50 pages of amendments can be circulated to commissioners and everybody has more time to review and digest, be ready to discuss at the next meeting commission. So that's the reason for your motion in the first instance. You had to amend the bylaws in order to get there, though. Is that right?
That's right, Chair.
Okay. Okay, all right. Yeah, can you, and I see, a couple people wanted to talk. I see both of you, and at least two folks, I'm gonna call you in a minute. Commissioner Nadia, I see you, Executive Director, I see you too. But I just want to ask Chair Carroll of the committee, if he can you zoom in on your, this section so that everybody here can see it more clearly and show us where we're making this change to?
Yes, can you see, does it look more clear now? There's a bold section right here.
Yeah, a little bit more, yeah. Commissioner Stone, can you see that better?
So sorry, I felt
And Dr. Miller, is it better now? Okay. Now, Commissioner, Secretary Carroll, or Chair Carroll, in this instance, is Chair of the committee, could you highlight the section that you're saying that we should add? Just make it clear. Okay.
So this is the section I want to amend, actually, and not add, just amend to this
section that we
section.
want to amend. Could you turn the specific section that you want to add a different color? There you go.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, does that clarify for folks what it is that the motion is? Now, Commissioner Knight.
Chairman and Chair Creel, just wondering if we can table any motions regarding the bylaw changes until a redlined version can be submitted to all commissioners for review, and any discussion can be had before our next meeting on the red line, maybe by email.
So, in this instance, it is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 word change. And also, timing is important because we were aiming to have it ready for this meeting. because of the deadline. But because it's not ready for this meeting, we need to have the flexibility to move it to the next meeting. Otherwise, we're out of compliance. So the only issue is if we can all get comfortable with the 5-word change that we're doing and the reason why we're doing it, then we could take care of this so that we can remain in compliance with our bylaws. So we can do exactly what it is that you're asking for, which is
Okay.
to circulate the 50 pages worth of red line amendments at the next meeting. We did not want to give that to everybody and say, today or last night, and say, our deadline is tomorrow, you have to prove it now. So we're wanting to give some flexibility based off of the timing that the committee was working on. That's what this 5-word change is intended to do, is give us some flexibility so we can circulate that red line change.
Got it. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. All right. Now, Commissioner Pino, I see you, but I'm going to call on the executive director first, because I saw her hand up first, and then we're going to go to Commissioner Pino. Executive Director Kirby.
I don't think I had my hand on.
Oh,
Did I? Oh, earlier, that was to zoom in.
I see. You were facilitating for somebody else, and I appreciate you doing that. So with that in mind, Commissioner Pino.
Yes, I guess I'm just wondering, rather than memorializing this in the bylaws, just to get an extension in this circumstance, it seems more appropriate just to have a motion to extend the deadline under the bylaws for this review, rather than to, again, amend the bylaw to do that. I think it can
Right.
be done another way without memorializing this in the bylaws.
So I think one reason why we haven't gone that way, Commissioner Pino, is I spent some time in Robert's Rules to look at it to see if we could suspend the bylaws, and I could get comfortable with the idea that we could do that or make an extension of bylaws. Just by motion. I don't know that that would be procedurally appropriate. I did do some research on it. I agree with you. I thought the simpler way would be the better way. But because I couldn't get comfortable with the idea that just a motion could suspend the bylaw, I thought maybe, I think in the committee discussion, that we just make this tweak to the bylaw to give us some flexibility, and then we might be able to do it that way. I even thought that if the motion carried by the vote threshold that's necessary to change the bylaws, which is 2/3, that might do it. Again, I couldn't get comfortable with it with the research that I did into Robert's Rules. So that's the reason why we're looking at doing it this way. Commissioner Pino.
Yes, was the research confined to suspending the bylaws, or did it also include a motion to extend a deadline within the bylaws? Because I think those are two very different things.
Okay, so my research may not have answered the question appropriately, because I think we have to suspend it, or even I was thinking that essentially the deadline is effectively a suspension. So Commissioner Pino is asking excellent questions that can help simplify things and second guessing, my thought process. And I appreciate you doing that, because, I not necessarily reached the right answer. What I'm going to do now, Mr. Ugarte, what is the right answer?
I understand, though. Really is up to the commission. They're the commission bylaws, and so I agree that it seems like a simple solution that makes sense. So the commission doesn't feel that this permanent change is required, and it's just for this year, for this month. And so anyway, then maybe the or commission, is an alternative.
I mean, I'd like it if we could just make one motion and be done with it, because it simplifies things and we're out. But I also wanted to make sure that we do it the right way. And so, this was part of the discussion that we had in committee. It's just, and for what it's worth, this is one of the recommended changes that would be in the red line ultimately that the committee discussed to give us some flexibility. The 90 days is tough, right? Because if we if we're going back to quarterly meetings, and I think we should, we then have to make sure that at one meeting, somebody has to make sure that the meeting is scheduled within that 90 days. So if it's outside, if the next meeting is outside of the 90 days, then we're outside of compliance with the bylaws. So it's a trap. The 90 days is a trap. And so what I'm saying is, if it's nice to have some flexibility for the commission to say, okay, bylaws, policies, procedures committee, the commission is not gonna meet for another 100 days or 95 days. Look, present it at the next meeting. Or, we're appointing these folks to this, committee. We understand that, these committee members have a lot going on within the next 90 days. You all are gonna need 120 days. Present in 2 meetings from now. Or, at a special meeting. So anyway, it's just something to consider that may serve the commission in the future, Commissioner Payne.
Yeah, I guess I just want to really be transparent about what my concern is. I participated on this commission when it was highly dysfunctional, when members did not have a voice, when certain members just sort of steamrolled things. So I'm not saying that that is the current state of affairs, but I get concerned about putting language that is unless the commission designates otherwise. Because I can tell you that a couple of years ago, that's the exact language that would have allowed certain members to like steamroll that we're never going to review the bylaws by saying because they've designated otherwise. And so things like that really concern me.
That makes sense, Commissioner. What if we say this to accommodate that concern, which I 100,000% agree with, to be clear? Unless the commission designates otherwise by quorum vote pursuant to Article 8 of the bylaws. So the commission would be doing that by a quorum vote. And we know that it is the will of the commission.
My response to that is that I would be more comfortable with language that says, but no later than whatever.
Okay.
And I feel really uncomfortable making this change without not being able to fully consider the implications. So, I'm yeah.
Okay, so just for the sake of discussion, let's add in, but no later than 180 days. So we know that it has to happen between 90 days and 180 days. And we know that the commission would have to approve specifically by a vote anything beyond the 90 days, but it can't do it past the 180 days. It adds some flexibility for timing, knowing that we only meet quarterly anyway. Is there more comfort there? Is there enough comfort there? Or because if you don't feel comfortable, then we can always bounce back to trying to get comfortable with the idea that we can just do this by a motion for extension. But honestly, that's something that kind of makes me uncomfortable. It's just based off the research that I did. Because I don't know that we can't do that unless we tweak the bylaws to allow for it. And Commissioner, I do want to say this, the Bylaws and Policies Procedures Committee has worked hard. We've had several meetings. We have taken hours of time to go over the bylaws and the policies procedures. It is more than 50 pages of documents, and it is dense stuff. So to get everybody in the room and spend several hours of their time and the scheduling for volunteers, it's a lot. And so I do think there needs to be some flexibility to account for that. We can say it needs to happen within 90 days, but the reality is there might need to be some flexibility, and that has been the experience of this committee, frankly speaking. Commissioner Pino.
Yes, and I'm not trying to diminish that work. I certainly appreciate that work, but again, I think I wouldn't be doing my duty if I didn't question or feel uncomfortable about these things. I feel more comfortable and again, I think there's a big difference between suspending the bylaws and simply doing a motion to delay. I feel a lot more comfortable than memorializing this language within the bylaws. I'm just expressing my opinion. And again, thank you all for the work that you've done on this.
No, and we appreciate your perspective and your experience and your opinion, and it absolutely matters. And, especially because you were here with me during that time period, that era of the commission when things were as you said. So I hear you. And I want to honor and respect that too. Commissioner Carroll, Secretary Carroll, Chair Carroll.
Thanks, Chairman. Commissioner Pino, do you feel comfortable with the newish language that we just put? I don't know if you can see it, where we're not, even I know you said you felt uncomfortable memorializing language, but if we put it in the actual, the time frame of no later than 180 days.
I'm still going to vote no, just because, again, I don't think it's appropriate to memorialize any of this in the bylaws. But I would make a motion to extend the deadline for this to occur. I don't know, if somebody has a better sense of what would be an appropriate extension. I will include that as part of my motion, but if we're moving forward with amending the bylaws, I'm just, my vote is gonna have to be no.
I respect that. And Chair, can you repeat what the Department of Justice attorney said?
I'm sorry, Commissioner. I'm sorry, Chair Carroll. Could you repeat what you said?
I want to say, what did the DOJ attorney say about this matter? About whether it's troublesome to memorialize this.
You're asking me for my opinion?
Yeah, the attorney that we have for the commission.
Oh, okay. He's not sure. And he
Okay.
says, I think he could say whatever that we do is okay. Okay. Okay, is that right? Council, don't let me put words in your mouth.
Well, I think it's just so everybody's clear, I think one of the options the commission has is there is now, I think, 3 different proposals as far as the revised version. The commission could vote on the original proposed change, and then if that gets voted down, you could try B, which I think was the according to Article 8. And then if that doesn't get voted or approved by the commission, C would be adding the but no later than 180 days. But if that's consistent with what the committee wants, I'm just giving that out. You could have multiple votes on, and if it doesn't work, then you try. And if none of those work, then you could, the final alternative of waiving the 90 days or giving an extension. So you're not limited to one vote, is my point. So you can see what happens as a result of the votes. I think you have 10 members here.
Yeah.
So not all 10 have spoken. So, but the voting will give you a sense of what the commission feels. And then you can adjust based on that.
Right. It makes sense, Council. And look, right now, the motion that is on the floor is from the chair of the committee, which doesn't have the additional revisions that were suggested by Commissioner Pino. And which Commissioner Pino has said, even if those revisions are made, they still vote no. But it hasn't been amended yet. So we have a motion on the floor. We do have to resolve it, whether we amend it, whether we table it, whether we vote on it, whether we vote and up or down on it. We have to address the motion that is on the floor in some way. But meanwhile, Commissioner Trott, who's also a committee member of this committee, would like to speak.
Yeah, well, I would basically gonna say, what you just said, we have a motion on the floor that we need to address, and we can't have another motion, but I was gonna also just state that in my experience, when you have a committee working on something like this, you don't then send everything out to the whole commission, you sit down and vote on it. Otherwise, why have a committee, right? Because then everybody's just gonna be putting their 2 cents in, whatnot, and we discuss it now.
Generally, I think there is a certain idea that there's some deference given to the committee, that is appointed and may have some expertise and certainly spend some time thinking about issues. On the other hand, whatever the committee's work is subject to review and approval of the commission. So we're not outside of bounds here. We have a motion. My question is, and my suggestion is what I would like to ask. Commissioner, Chair Carroll, on behalf of the committee, some suggestions have been made by, Commissioner Pino, which I don't necessarily know that she's suggesting them as amendments, because I don't know that she supports even with those amendments. I do. I like the suggestions that Commissioner Pino has made, and I think that it helps to accommodate some of the concerns that she has raised. So I would like to adopt those changes that she asked and ask you as chair of the committee, would you accept those as amendments to your motion?
Thank you, Chair West. Yes, I'll accept those amendments to the motion. So the new motion
All right.
would be adding what's here, highlighted. In addition, add by informed vote pursuant to Article 8 of the bylaws, but no later than 180 days.
Okay, so now that we've amended the motion, just to be clear, did you get rid of the motion to stop there? And then did you just put that stuff up there? Because we have an amended motion now that's on the floor. I think it's already been seconded. Somebody seconded that motion. Do we know who seconded the motion? Secretary, who seconded that motion? Okay, then is the motion.
Can we repeat the motion, please?
The motion is, the amended motion now is to add at the end of the sentence here, unless the commission designates otherwise, by a quorum vote, where it is quorum there, a quorum vote pursuant to Article 8 of the bylaws, but not later than 180 days. So the whole sentence then would read, such report shall be submitted to the commission within 90 days of the staffing of the subcommittee. Unless otherwise, designated, the word designated is missing, unless otherwise designated by the commission by a quorum, Q-U-O-R-U-M, quorum vote of the commission, pursuant to Article 8 of the bylaws, but not later than 90 days. So that gives you the outside date. It tells you that the commission has to vote to approve any extension of the 90-day deadline. Commissioner Trump.
So I just want to make sure, so the current motion is to adopt what he has brought forth
Right.
with the additions of Commissioner Pino's wording,
Right,
correct?
that's right. And we can't say it's Commissioner Pino, and we can't say it's Commissioner Pino's wording because it was developed through conversation with Commissioner Pino. But I'm not saying it's not her amendment, right? Because I adopted those and said to the chair, he would make that amendment. He said yes. So on that, I have that the movement on that motion is the chair of the committee. I have that I'm the second on it. We have that it is now amended as read there on the screen. And that's the motion on the floor. Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, here and none. Secretary to call the roll. Secretary Pro Tem. Sorry.
Second, that motion.
I do.
All right, now, Commissioner Elliott,
Yes, do you amendment?
Commissioner Anaya,
Abstain.
Commissioner Carroll,
Yes.
Commissioner Pino,
Abstain.
Commissioner Robinson. Not here, all right. Commissioner Stone. Good job.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams. Vice Chair, are you there? We'll come back to you, Vice Chair. Commissioner Lumi. Yes. Chairman. Yes. Vice Chair.
I have to abstain, sorry.
Well, besides the other things, one still carries.
What is the count?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3 not here and 3 abstentions.
7 in favor with 3 abstentions, and the motion carries. Secretary Curl, do you have any further motion?
Well, now that the motion's passed, I'd like for the next motion to extend our deadline to the next meeting of the commission. So we'll have the report by then.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
A second is by Dr. Well, it's a report of the bylaws and policy procedures committee with possible action. Okay. Second by Dr. Melia. Any discussion? Hearing none, Secretary Pro Tem, call the roll.
Commissioner Amelia,
Yes.
Commissioner Anaya,
Abstain.
Commissioner Carroll,
Yes.
Commissioner Pino,
Yes.
Commissioner Robinson, you there? Yes. Commissioner Stone.
Yeah.
Commissioner Trapp,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice Chair. Commissioner Umi. Yes. Commissioner Chairman.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll call the vice chair again.
Commissioner Vice Chair Williams. Yes, it's happening anyway. Still have the 8 yeses.
8 in favor and
We got 1 abstention.
1 abstention. So that motion carried. Okay. Anything further from on the committee on that agenda item there, Chair Carroll?
No, that's it. No more news for me. Thanks for the great discussion.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. So that takes us to the next item on our agenda, strategic action planning committee with possible action. We on that one, I could go either to Dr. Stone or Commissioner Traub, for the report from that committee? Dr. Stone.
We have our executive director, Kervin, has rolled out the strategic plan during the Juneteenth weekend. Fortunately, we have less than 20 folks who have completed the survey. Despite trying to condense and really work on word content, not sure, why folks are choosing not to fully complete it. But what we are choosing to do is really take the moment that Executive Kervin is having with community members to take note. And use that as part of our coding in terms of how we think about the strategic plan and moving forward. And so the response that she receives from the youth conference, the conversations we had during the Juneteenth weekend, and the conversation that she will have tomorrow will all be coded by collegiate student leaders who are trained facilitators to help us inform our plan. We have no action-oriented items that need to be forwarded on for that program.
I think there may be one.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, to predict better.
Yeah. that's okay.
I don't have to see, that we are.
Yeah, yeah, it's essentially to the next meeting, so.
Okay. We are requesting that the commission consider an extension of the strategic plan to be submitted by the next commission meeting in August.
All right, so that's a motion from the committee there, as co-chair, right, John?
Can you give me a second? That'd be.
Okay, and the second is from Commissioner Rodini. So is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, Secretary Pro Tem, please call the roll.
Commissioner Amelia,
Yes.
Commissioner Anaya,
Yes.
Commissioner Carroll,
Yes.
Commissioner Pino, Commissioner Sharon Pino,
Secretary Commissioner Pino has left the meeting. She had another obligation.
thank you. Guess the Commissioner Roberts is still not here. I vote yes. Commissioner Stone? Commissioner Traub?
Yes.
Is Vice Chair back?
Yes, I am.
And you vote yes or no on the extension?
Yes, on the extension.
Commissioner Umi?
Yes.
Chairman?
Yes. You know, call Commissioner Robinson, just to make sure.
Commissioner Robinson? Are you there? You got 9 yeses.
Okay, 9 in favor, none opposed.
Okay.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is Executive Director Expense Approval Authority. And on that item, I'm saying the Vice Chair may have a motion. Vice Chair, you're recognized.
Hello, everybody. This motion is to basically provide a little bit of flexibility for Executive Director Kervin as she's kind of going into this next year, or as she is going into this next year, for the various things that we will need. I know that at one point we had put a $5,000 cap, but basically wanted to see and have a discussion about increasing that, because I know that there are some expenses that are more. We're moving into the quarterly meetings where we're not meeting like we were. And so just trying to give her the flexibility in the position. So I don't know if I need to make a motion to start that discussion.
Yes.
Okay. So motion made to discuss, I don't have the agenda in front of me. I'm sorry. I'm trying to juggle a couple things, but motion made
It's
to
okay.
discuss. Go ahead.
The agenda item is Executive Director Expense Approval Authority, possible action.
Okay, can I make a motion for that, please, to discuss that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
Motion made to discuss expending authority.
so in order to generate the discussion, if you, do you have a specific motion? Or, you
I
wanna
would
open
like
this?
to, I would like to increase it above the $5,000. I don't know if 10,000 is too much, but, I would like to make a motion to expend or to extend the, expending authority of the executive director to, $9,500, I guess, for various expenses without the commission's approval. For her to have that expending authority.
Okay, that's the motion. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, second by Commissioner Wu. Is there discussion?
I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna call on you if you didn't want to say anything.
Yes.
Okay.
What was the number that Vice Chair?
$9,500. She would increase it from 5,000 to 9,500.
With the commission, I'm thinking ahead of King Day, the next week leadership conference. And you all haven't talked about the schedule for your upcoming meetings just yet. But the anticipation is that the conference is going to grow, and I know that the expenses for King Day, some of them might be within like a maybe $5,000 to $10,000 range. And I'm wondering if it could just be 10,000, because even with, let me say this, even with the youth leadership conference, had you all not approved for the lump sum amount, I would have ran into several hurdles trying to get all the expenses timely fashion.
That's a question for you, Vice Chair.
Yes, I'm open to that.
Supposing the audit book comes in at $9,000. Do you think that the executive director should be able to choose the auditor without approval of the commission?
Are you asking me specifically?
Is it your motion?
Well,
I
I think, I don't know if,
I don't,
oh,
it
sorry,
didn't-
Chair, go ahead.
it didn't have to be you specifically. It could be a rhetorical question.
Well, I think that the auditor specifically is something that, and I don't know if we have anything in bylaws that speak to having the whole commission make that decision. But, I want to say that even that cost is more than the $10,000.
And I think the
It's like
audit
11.
book for this year, our meal was less than, maybe in that range or a little bit less than, if I'm wrong. I think it was, if memory serves, our meal auditors. Do you know the answer to that question, Executive Director?
I'm sorry, what's your question?
How much did both?
How much are those costs?
This year, yeah. While you're looking that up, I kind of feel strongly that the commission should be the auditor. And so there's, it's something to think about, because I think we increase that, and then it needs to, as you say, right now, I don't think the audit, the policies and procedures would specifically call. We've been working on that in the policies and procedures committee, so I'm going to call Secretary Carroll and let him opine on that. But meanwhile, I see Commissioner Trump has a comment to make.
Yes, I just have a lot of points going through my head. So in the policies and procedures, so like, I feel really confident allowing executive director around to, have that money and be able to spend it. But I think that's because we trust her, but we also know the past and things that are happening. So I would like to see something, I am in total agreement that amount should be raised. I think we're supposed to trust our executive director. I do think we need to choose the auditor. But I'd like to see something in place that says, if that job person who is sitting in that job changes, or we at any time can change that, or something that we can immediately change it at any time.
Yeah, so right now, immediate changes are tough because, well, and that's part of the bylaws and policy procedures committee work is addressing how quickly the commission can meet, which there's an issue with that right now, that is be part of that committee's work. So it's a good point. Thank you for raising it. Dr. Stone.
Motion to be amended to in language that has, expense to 2,000 with the exception of auditor and other things that we don't need to be approved by us.
So with that, how about subject to the policies and procedures of the commission? Because that gives, I think that ties into the work that the Policies and Procedures Committee has already been doing. That lays out the authority of, and what is allowed versus what is not and what is required. That's probably a very good idea. There's right now, whatever it is we say is the authority of the executive director is already laid out, $5,000 already in policies and procedures. So it really is, I think, is a suggestion that the Policies and Procedures Committee reflected in their work for it to come back to us at the next meeting. So what I was picking up on your suggestion, I think what I would do and what I would suggest to Vice Chair is, Vice Chair, would you consider an amendment to your motion based off Dr. Stone's comment and a suggestion I'm going to make, which is to increase that to basically to refer a request, well, to refer an increase up to $10,000 or $9,500. I don't want to change your number, but $9,500 to the Bylaws and Policies and Procedures Committee to reflect it in their revisions, subject to appropriate exceptions. And, and then that way, when it comes back to us at the next meeting, it'll all be laid out in black and white in the policies and procedures. Madam Vice Chair? Madam Vice Chair, did we lose you?
Oh, we're.
Well, I kind of hate to have discussion motion and the movement is not there. So hang on just a second.
To answer the question about the cost of the,
I think I might, just a second, I would want the Vice Chair to hear too. We call for the Vice Chair again. Vice Chair, are you there?
Hey, sorry, guys. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, all right, we put a hold on the discussion till you could come back, and I don't know how much you heard before you dropped off there. But I was asking you if you consider an amendment to your motion based off a comment that Dr. Stone had made and a thought that I had, which is that any changes to the authority would need to be reflected in the bylaws and policies and procedures, which already lays out certain exceptions.
Okay.
So would you consider an amendment to your motion that the bylaws and policies and procedures implement an increase in the spending authority of $9,500, subject to exceptions, as outlined by the revised policies and procedures, outlined by the committee in this next report at the next meeting.
Okay, yeah, I definitely can modify. Should it be 10,000? Cause that's what I know. I thought I heard, Executive Director Kervin say that it kind of the expenses go between 5 to 10,000.
Okay, Tim, whatever you say the amendment should be,
Yeah.
right? So,
Let's amend to
Okay.
10 and then deal with the bylaws.
yeah, the policies and procedures committee, because, so it won't be, just to clarify, then it wouldn't be effective until the commission approves amendment to the policies and procedures that includes that new number and includes what the exceptions would be with that new number included to address, for example, the auditor, whatever else. And so that committee can give attention to what those exceptions ought to be, if any, and then bring it back to the commission. The commission can approve it, be all laid out in black and white in detail.
Sounds like a
So
plan.
it sounds good to
So-
you, Vice Chair?
Yes.
Okay, so we have an amended motion then. Everybody understand what the amended motion is? Is there any, Commissioner Wood?
Yeah, so there was a lot of discussion, like guys here, 8 months ago. Around that, a lot of things were adjusted. The past commissioners, some kind of got irate about the changes. So my question now is, that context in place, are we also gonna change the amount for a commissioner that have to be on the commission? And they're asking for some sponsorship from the commission.
So that is,
All that was the same change thing.
okay, so that is not, part of this agenda item. And that, what you're raising is in the policies and procedures. So we have kind of gone past that agenda item. And it's not relevant to this agenda item. So, what I would say is, yeah, of course, by that, I was just, reaching out to the chair of that committee.
So the subject matter of question is what again?
Executive director, expense approval and authority.
Um,
Okay.
So what I'm
Okay,
saying,
okay, well, you make a good point. It may be germane after all. So that in the case, do you have a suggested, amendment for the vice chair on our motion?
I think he said open for discussion, so I will open for discussion.
In order to make it relevant for discussion, it needs to be part of the motion that's on the floor.
So
And so, yeah, so, because we have to discuss the motion that's on the floor right now. And it's not part of the motion that's on the floor right now. If you make a suggested amendment to the vice chair, she accepts it, then it becomes part of the motion that's on the floor. And then it becomes relevant for discussion for us all right now.
okay,
If not, we have to take care of the motion that's on the floor, and then there might be another motion that comes after that you might make on this agenda item.
understood. As we're talking about the motion and a possible amendment to her motion.
Yeah.
My question is to chair, vice chair, is she open to that discussion?
I mean, I'm open to discuss anything. I think that, what this is pertaining to right now is just for that, discretionary to spending for, programmatic stuff. And I think that what you're addressing is something probably that's in another aspect of the bylaws. But, however, Chair West, um, says that we need to proceed on it, but I'm definitely open for discussion on anything.
Okay, it doesn't really seem like it's part of her motion, so let's deal with her motion as it is. And then if you want to make a different motion after we finish, then we can take that up, right, once we finish this one. But as you say, I've been persuaded that it has relevance to this agenda. item. Thank you for pointing that out. So back to the vice chair's motion. Any discussion, comments, questions on that? Hearing none, Secretary Pro Tem Caldwell.
In the manner of accepting the motion to increase the budget.
Increase the motion is to refer to the bylaws and policies and procedures committee, an increase of 5,000 up to 10,000 for executive director, approval authority, subject to the you know, revisions, recommendations, and exceptions that the committee is going to recommend to the commission at the next meeting.
Yes. That, Commissioner Goya.
Yes.
Commissioner Anaya,
Abstain.
Commissioner Carroll,
Yes.
Commissioner Pino, oh, yeah, stepped up on,
Right.
okay. Commissioner Robinson, you in? Commissioner Ruthini? I'm gonna abstain on this. Commissioner Stone?
He said, believe. The motion is to refer to the bylaws and policies and procedures committee, an increase in the executive director of approval authority from 5,000 to 10,000, subject to, the, exceptions, revisions, how that the committee will recommend in the next meeting.
Commissioner Trump,
Yes.
Vice Chair,
Yes.
Commissioner Umi,
Yes.
Commissioner Chairman,
Let's abstain.
all right, motion carries and passes. We have 6 yeses and 1, 2, 3 abstentions.
All right, 6 in favor with 3 abstentions, the motion passes. Is there any further, on this agenda item, anything further?
Yes.
Anything further on?
Yes, on the subject matter, I would like to, motion to discuss the matter of authority when it comes to the budget increase for members of the commission.
Well, okay, so I don't exactly understand, but you don't need the motion for discussion, but to generate a discussion, we need a motion, a specific motion for something to happen. So, what is the motion?
So right now, I think the approved budget for the executive director, if anybody is on the commission, is in need of whatever, or asking for the commission for support, they're only allowed to get $1,000. But without being approved by the commission.
What kind of in need or support? Because I'm not asking the commission for any money. I don't understand what you're asking. Can you clarify for me what you're saying?
I'm saying to you is, we increased the budget for the executive director from 5,000 to 10,000. Correct. If you follow me here. There's another set of rules that have to do with a commissioner getting funding from the MLK Junior Commission that is capped off at $1,000. So previously, I was asking for a discussion on are all the changes from last 8 months gonna be addressed? So now that has been already available, I'm asking now to increase it from 1,000 to 15,000. 15.
Well, I don't, this is the part I don't understand, Commissioner. Far as I know, right, and I don't even ask the commission for reimbursement. Knowledge reimbursement, I don't. Okay, that's my only knowledge of a commissioner asking the commission directly for money. Is there some other circumstance Can you help me understand that? Because look, we amended the policies and procedures. We amended the policy and procedures, I think, at the November meeting to clarify that any commissioner who would want to seek reimbursement could do so pursuant to the rules in the per diem, the state per diem rules and regulations. So that'd be a commissioner directly asking the commissioner, right, for reimbursement. That's all I knew about commissioner directly asking the commissioner. I'm Commissioner so-and-so, commissioner pay me back. That's what I know about. Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about something different?
You brought up something totally different that should also be addressed. There's also bylaws about being compensated for meetings and driving. That's another matter.
I think you already took care of that at the November meeting. That's my point.
Yes, but now we're talking about adjustment, so. But before you go, please, I guess, things are hand up.
I wanted to provide clarification to what I believe Commissioner Secretary, former Secretary, current Secretary Rodriguez is saying, not getting paid by the commission, which he's correct. You all are have the option to get a board member fee for attending commission meetings.
Right, because we're,
And for mileage, yes.
and that's it, right? Because as commissioners, just to be clear, the statute says that a commissioner is a volunteer and we're not going to be paid by the state for our service. So just to be clear, all the commissioners here are volunteers. Okay, Executive Director.
Yes, I believe what Commissioner Rodriguez is saying, if an organization that a commissioner is affiliated with at this current moment, they request, put in a funding proposal, which the commission offers to community organizations, and the commissioner is affiliated, the threshold for me to approve is $1,000. Anything over that has to be approved by the commission. I would just like to say, as the executive director, and I've shared this with Chair West, that I don't care what the dollar amount is. I believe the commissioner should have to approve it. I believe it puts me in an uncomfortable position to have to, if every commissioner is affiliated with a community organization and chooses to submit a funding proposal, I think I get put in a difficult position picking and choosing who's going to get approved and who is not, at any dollar amount. And I would like it to be a commission decision. I think for the commissioners who are affiliated with community organizations and do want that support from the commission, and some of those organizations, the commission absolutely needs to be there and be supporting. It would just need to be on an agenda in advance before they're with. But the dollar amount to me, $1 to 15,000, I think should be approved by the commission if it's affiliated with a commission.
Is that what you're asking about, Commissioner?
But I think, Brandy had her hand up.
Dr. Stone?
Well, actually, I agree, and I think this is gonna be a very tricky thing because what we are not outlining is the relationship within the organizations that we might be affiliated with.
So what I'm gonna suggest is that you've all gotten ahead of the work of the bylaws and policy procedures committee. Okay? So all of this is laid out in our bylaws, in our policies and procedures. And that committee has spent a lot of time going over all of this. And is gonna have recommendations for the commission because it's been discussed in thorough detail. So if this is what you're asking about, we have heard from council, we have heard from the executive director, and we have heard from the committee members. And we have addressed the issues that Dr. Stone is now making a deep dive into the policies and procedures. And what I'm going to suggest to you all is that this is not the right time or place for us to redo the work that the policies and procedures committee has spent hours already going over.
I'm not really doing work, I'm just posing some discussion. And right now, with all that in mind, what I wonder is and I agree with her. Okay. But what I wonder now is, because I don't know, talking about what is the procedure for for a commissioner that's affiliated with the group to get approved and certain things be streamlined. Because we're talking about proposal to executive director as a streamlined function. If you're asking for a commissioner who's affiliated and the month or 2 month, 3 month, we don't know what the next meeting might be, and the timeline and the possibility of reimbursement, what procedures in place to make sure that MLK is represented at a possible opportunity in the right time.
Well, I think this is one reason why I think currently the bylaw, that the policies and procedures. The committee has been all over this. What I'm suggesting to you is this is one reason why the committee, this is one reason why the bylaws allow the executive director to make an approval of a relatively small amount of $1,000 if the executive director is not conflicted. And the commission is not meeting for 3 months. Okay, so there's number one, no conflict. Number two, the interest of community support can be served, but we are getting into the work and the recommendations of the bylaws and policy and procedures committee right now. That's not what we need to be doing at this moment.
Are the members here?
I'm here, Mr. Trump is here, Chair Carroll is here, but we're not going to turn this moment into a meeting of the bylaws and procedures. We have said that we're going to have that committee report to us next meeting. What I'm going to suggest to you respectfully is that the suggestions you have about streamlining the procedure to the extent it needs to be streamlined any further, because it's pretty streamlined right here, in my opinion. But if it needs to be streamlined further, I think reach out to Chair Carroll. He can, circulate that to the committee. Maybe there's further modification to this. But look, this is a lot of that stuff. And we don't need to make a deep dive into that right here, right now.
I'm okay with that, but with that being said, it's not gonna be considered for the next committee meeting. That's not happening. I'm not gonna be there. So now that's been said.
You're not gonna be here in August.
No, I'm talking about that committee meeting.
Oh, wait. Well, you know what? I can't see why you can be invited to that committee meeting.
I have said that.
Oh,
What I'm saying is now it's top of mind.
oh,
So without it being open for discussion, y'all won't even consider it for the next meeting.
well, I think that we.
And it should be considered because of what's on the agenda and what is being proposed and what has changed just last 8 months.
Well, we didn't change this part in the last 8 months. This part wasn't touched. The next thing is, what I'm concerned about is if we start getting into the details of the work of the policies and procedures committee, we know that it's coming back to us at the next meeting. If I ask you for a motion right now, we're having a discussion on something that's not even a motion on the floor. If I ask you, what is your motion? Can you tell me the section that you want changed and the words that you want changed in the policies and procedures? Then we're not ready, it's not right for discussion.
Okay.
That's my point.
That's fair.
And it can be made right for discussion, because it can be given to that committee, and the committee can put it in its recommendations. It'll be in the red line, and it'll be made very clear exactly what the changes will be.
Okay.
Okay. So with that, anything else on this agenda item? Hearing none, we'll go on to the next item of business. Vice Chair, if I call on you, please, on item number 12.
Again, I don't have it in front of me, but I think this is the executive session.
Yes, Vice Chair.
Alrighty, so I make a motion that we move into executive session to discuss items, I think it's 12, 13, and 14 in the executive session.
Okay, so if you can, Vice Chair, specifically read out on item number 12, you move us into executive discussion to discuss in a specific item that's on the agenda. So you just read that out. That's part of a specific motion.
All right.
Chairman?
You don't
Chairman,
have to-
can the executive director put the agenda on the screen and for Vice Chair to read it?
Oh, yeah, because I didn't realize that she didn't have the agenda in front of her. Or any other commissioner can do it. Anybody have the agenda in front of them, Dr. Stone?
Stone, I move that we convene in closed session to discuss and consider limited personnel matters, specifically including executive director evaluation and compensation pursuant to Open Meeting Act, NMSA 1978.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded, that we move into the executive session for the purpose indicated. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Secretary Pro Tem, would you call the roll? Again, let's group call the roll.
Yes, Commissioner Melia,
Yes.
Commissioner Anaya,
Yes.
Commissioner Carroll, that's another one. Secretary Carroll. Is Commissioner Pino here? No, Robinson. Commissioner Ravini, yes. Commissioner Stone. Commissioner Trot. Commissioner Vice Chair. Wow, we doing it right now. Okay. Commissioner Luby.
Yes.
Commissioner Chairman West.
Yes.
Right.
All
Ready
right,
to go.
so what was the vote on that?
7.
7 in favor, none opposed? Then it takes us into the executive session. So with that, we'll ask anybody who's not a member of the commission, please excuse themselves. Any commissioners who are online, we will ask you to go to the executive session link, please. And we will take about a 5-minute break. And then we'll come back at 1:30. Start up. And is there a motion related to that item?
I make a motion in open meeting, if nothing was discussed in closed session, so no matter related to item 12, limited personnel matters, typically including executive director evaluation and compensation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Manager. Motion from Rob, and any discussion? Hearing none, Secretary Pro Tem, would you mind calling the roll? Thank you.
Commissioner Melia,
Yes.
Commissioner Anaya,
Yes.
Commissioner Carroll, are you there? Commissioner Pino, are you there? Commissioner Robinson, are you there? Commissioner Vice Chair Williams, are you here? Melanie? Yes, Commissioner Ravini. Commissioner Stone? Commissioner Trot?
Yes.
Commissioner Louis? Yes. Commissioner West?
Yes.
Yes, 7 yeses.
7 in favor, none opposed, so we're back in open session. Thank y'all for that. It takes us to item number 14 on our agenda. Any action required as a result of the closed meeting? Is there any motions to be made this time? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the next items on our agenda. So just let everybody know, we got 3 action items based off recommendations that come to us from the executive director. Then we can have about a 15-minute training that's required by our bylaws. We only have 1 statute left. The bylaws require trainings on 3 statutes. We took care of 2 of them retreat. So we have one left. Mr. Garfield is gonna help us with that one. And we're just gonna talk about the meetings for next year, next fiscal year, and then we're done. So, Executive Director Kirby, I'm gonna recognize you in case you have something to say to us about item number 15 of the
Yes.
agenda.
Pulling the agenda up in front of me, sorry, one second. Yes, so what you have in your packets, today, commissioners, is a draft of a job posting for a program manager for the commission. I believe that it would be in the commission's best interest to have a program manager to help with the coordination of small and large projects. With the and also coordinating volunteers, anything that has to do with putting on those small and large projects. As laid out in the previous meeting, we're gonna have a variety of different things going on, but some signature programs of the commission are gonna continue. The Youth Leadership Conference, the commemoration in Albuquerque, as well as supporting other commemorations. The program manager would be essential to supporting me in that role and allow for me to focus on other areas of the commission's needs as well. We're also in need of a level 2 agency approver. That would either be myself or the program manager. Right now, I'm having to reroute all of my purchase orders to the state controller because we don't have a level 2 agency approver. It's gonna be essential because they did make some changes at DFA where anything under $20,000 is gonna be approved by the agency, and won't be approved by DFA. So we need that second person to support. Whether they're gonna be level 2, it would likely be me and they would be the ones submitting. And at this point, I could train them and how to submit and do all of those things for us. And we really need that person for program coordination, program management as the outlaid in the posting. And if there's any suggestions that you have or comments, I believe that this position is formerly a deputy director. And after having conversations with some of you all and people who've been previously connected to the commission, I don't know if a deputy director is in the best interest. And also I come to just observe that a deputy director is a program manager. So.
Okay,
Any questions about that part specifically? What you received in your packet? All right, do you want me to speak to the second portion?
sure, yes.
So thank you to Hazel, Commissioner Hazel, for connecting me with the Department of Workforce Solutions. They have a wage subsidy program where they connect participants who receive TANF in the state to different state agencies for employment. The great thing about the program is they handle the compensation. So I know that the commission asked or put in the proposal to the legislators for an administrative specialist. I believe that we could get 2 at no cost from this program and would like to go into a memorandum of understanding with Department of Workforce Solutions. Please be advised that the copy you have is a draft. They have not even seen that yet. Given the other areas that I've had to focus my time to, I haven't had been able to have a follow-up meeting. But as soon as we're ready to enter that agreement with them, they're ready to go and find someone, find some people to come on over and work at the commission. They would go through an interview process, selection process as you would normally hiring, but their compensation as well as their evaluation, it's that word, evaluation, and if there's needing for like additional trainings, they'll do training with them as well. Have both of those documents there. Are there any questions?
Sorry, Chairman, the only question I have for the executive director is, I don't see on either of the projected hires the income
Yeah,
what pay band they might fall under? Or is this gonna be a classified position or is this gonna be a GovX position?
right now, our FTE position, the other FTE position is a GovX position. It's not classified. With the positions in the Department of Workforce Solutions, I am not sure about the hourly rate, but I know that they'll be working 40 hours,
It's $15.
$15 an hour.
That
for the
comes out of-
Department.
So that comes out of DWS's budget though,
Yes.
not, okay.
And then for the program manager, right now, as our budget submission for fiscal year 26 stands, I believe what it is there now is 62,000. I believe if we find someone who, or actually, if we the person that we select, if it's calculated that their salary needs to be higher, there's an overestimate in the line item for the leasing of the vehicle. And I think that that is where some of those funds come from. So right now, the line item to lease the vehicle is like 12,500. I don't know if leasing the vehicle is gonna cost that for the year.
Thank you.
There's also funds and miscellaneous expenses that could be moved as well.
Any other questions on this? If not, I would say one thing, I definitely appreciate, Department of Workforce Solutions being willing to work with us and support us in this way. DWS definitely been a supporter, and we really love the commission. We really appreciate everything they do. They even let us meet in the conference room. In March, that was on Sunday. We appreciated all those different ways that, you know, they work with us as first. Dr. Stone, you have something?
Yeah, I just wanna flag an equity concern. I agree that a deputy director does not make sense, if it is essentially the same roles. But just looking at the sunshine portal, and I know that you're capped kind of right now for the understand for your salary, but program managers on average are spending between 100,000 and 75,000. There's three that are making under 70,000. And so I continue to raise the issue that I don't want to keep like putting us at a place where you're two people serving the whole state of New Mexico and you're making significantly less than the rest of the folks who are also taxed to serve the state of New Mexico. So I wonder, are there opportunities for us to think about moving lines to increase salary? I don't know how that works. I'm just putting that out there. Or we might need to consider a lower role, because I just feel bad when we hire folks within our community with those titles and they don't get paid the same amount of money as others. I think that you're 100% right. I don't know, the thing of what I feel like would end up happening is, let's say, I don't know what's under a program manager, maybe like a program, I don't know, coordinator, but that they would be having to do the same work. And I don't want to pay I don't want to have to be put in a position where I'm paying someone less to still do the same amount of work that I know is going to be required to get these things done. I think that the commission has the budget to increase that salary line. I would need to discuss with DFA how to do that, but I know that it can be done.
So let's see, I don't want to miss Commissioner Corolla. Yeah, saying her virtually, then we'll come to Dr. May, unless you have something specifically on that.
I did.
Oh, okay, let's go to Dr. May first, then Commissioner Corolla, and then Commissioner Knight. So Dr. May.
So to speak to, and I agree, we want an equitable, equity here. But for the program manager within the state classification, pay band is usually either a 70 or a 75, whereas program coordinator is usually a 60 to 65. And based on your salary range, look at the salary range between those pay bands, maybe identify which salary range we're like.
Okay, Commissioner Corolla.
See Commissioner Cole on this.
Oh, maybe I missed you, that's great. In that case, Commissioner Nyla.
Just wanted to know, Chairman, from the executive director, is this a template for a program manager with duties, or did you create this job duty?
Yes, so I created this. I talked with Jennifer, I'm gonna forget her last name.
Deal.
Hill, yes. I reached out to her because I did the share HR training, which taught me how to set someone up once they are hired. And I had to miss the recruiting training because I had to attend a different DFA training. So I reached out to Jennifer and inquired, how do I go about getting this other FTE position? And she told me that it was up to me to select what the position title was gonna be and to make the uh, scope of work or duties and roles for that position. I haven't gotten any further direction on how that process works. Maybe you all could answer because you all put the posting together and get me here. But I don't know if there's a template involved or a specific template to use. But I'm happy to alter it or change it as it's needed to fit the template if there is one.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Because if not, I want to talk to you about the procedure here and the motion. So essentially, under the bylaws, Article 4, Section A7 says that the executive director can hire and interview and even hire office staff with the advice and consent and formal approval of the commission. So that's the motion that we need to make, that she can proceed with these things that you just outlined. So with that in mind, the advice and consent may have just, potentially consent may have happened, but the advice therefore seems potentially have happened. Now, we need to see if the commission approves. Is there a I think the motion would be to authorize the executive director to interview and hire office staff, including staff from Department of Workforce Solutions, pursuant to Article 4, Section A7 of the bylaws. And that to include negotiation and finalizing the memorandum of understanding with Department of Workforce Solutions. Would there be a motion for that from anybody?
I'm sorry, what was that?
So Commissioner Naya was just saying that in order for the executive director to move forward with interviewing and hiring office staff, whether it's the program position or whether it's, I think the folks at DWS with pursuant to a memorandum of understanding. Under Article 4, Section 8.7 of the bylaws, the commission has to approve it. So I'm asking, is there a motion to approve it? That's my question. Okay, so that motion is from Dr. Melia. Is there a second? Commissioner Mooney seconds the motion. So is there a discussion? All right, hearing no discussion. Secretary to call the roll.
Commissioner Moe,
Yes.
Commissioner Nye,
Yes.
Commissioner Carroll. Pino. Commissioner Robinson. Commissioner Bluthini. Yes. Commissioner Stone.
Yeah.
Commissioner Truck. Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Umi. Yes. Chairman.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And the vote count was
7.
7 in favor, none opposed, motion carries. Thank you for that. Item number 16, back to the executive director.
Yes, so again, commissioners, in your packet, you have a draft contract that has been reviewed by legal for a CFO, and I can't remember the exact title that was in the one pager to the legislatures, which is where I drew the figure from. That's in this contract, which I believe is 30,400. Please, correct me if I'm incorrect. And this person would be in charge of the fiscal management of the commission. As I stated earlier, I am not an accountant. I can do something with Excel. I can't do a whole lot. I'm pretty good at math, but there needs to be a person completely tasked with making sure that the commission is one, meeting deadlines of DFA, attending the monthly CFO meetings with DFA, staying abreast with the different policies and procedures in regards to spending, and ensuring that the commission is in line with its budget. And also, if you all are going to move to quarterly meetings, you still need to get the monthly financial reports. And now that I do know a lot about governmental accounting, I feel comfortable being able to manage someone who would be doing the more intricate work that comes with that.
Thanks. So, thank you for that, Executive Director. Is there any motion related to this CFO contract from the commissioners? So is this, Executive Director, over your $5,000 authority, right? And, so you need the commissioners' approval in order to do anything with it, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
12 hours. Okay, director could then enter a contract. From the DFA. For a contract fee.
And I don't think it would be a fee this time, Executive Director.
If the person came from DFA, that would be wonderful. And my first preference would be someone who has direct experience with governmental accounting.
But potentially with DFA, but not necessarily then.
Right.
Well, but the memorandum of understanding is to the DFA.
It was that's.
There's a memorandum of understanding referencing the MOU he had with CFO Jennings. I included that because I thought it would have a figure. It doesn't have a figure in there of what, CFO Jennings would cost to be in comparison to what the figure is in this contract.
Yeah, I think CFO Jennings might be paid, a variable, where it's maybe like about an hour or something, so the total figure perhaps it's not in there. I think maybe what would make sense in council, you let me know what you think, but authorization for the executive director to enter into contract for CFO support and to negotiate and finalize the contract up to a certain amount of dollars. And it gives her the flexibility to find a CFO up to a certain amount to be authorized and get the contract finalized, work with legal and get a CFO working for us. Does that sound about right? That's true. So that's a good motion. Anybody want to make it? And then that person could be at DFA or not. That could be right, Johnson? He said that's right. So we're waiting for a motion potentially. It doesn't have to be a motion. I think we may have to call a recess if we've lost Commissioner Hyde. Do you know Executive Director?
She's got me a call. I'm checking the chat. My last message is that she could hear. I'm not sure it's where she went. I'll message her separately on Teams.
Now let's wait for her to come back. Yep. Yeah. You're gonna have your 15-minute training, right? Yeah, I'm back.
She said that she was kidding.
Mm-mm. Chair West, do you want to go into recess so that I can,
Yeah, or whatever it says. Definitely. We're still 16 right now, so you just have 16, 17. Okay, so we'll come back from our recess, and we're doing that without a quorum. Lost quorum, that's why we took the recess, that due to a very hybrid meeting issue. Since in that time, we lost another commissioner, so we do not have a quorum, therefore we cannot continue on taking votes on the next two action items, or the action item we were working on was item number 16. So we'll not take action on that, and item number 17. We won't take action on that. We'll just put those on the agenda for our next meeting. And with that in mind, we go to item number 18, part of our bylaws that we have displayed. Mr. Garty is here to provide it. In view of the hour, we're asking please to give us an abbreviated version of that. So you have the floor.
Executive Director, did you sent an email earlier if they had that appointment?
give me 1 second, please.
And then we can circulate it. Oh, yeah. So in New Mexico, we have what's called the Governmental Conduct Act, and it's a set of statutes that regulate the behavior of any government employee. And the employee is a broad term, so it would apply to the commission, staff. So next slide. It's got, obviously, if you want to go read, you can read it in the statute. It's based on the goal that we're all in positions as public employees of trust. We're handling funds and responsibilities for people, the citizens of New Mexico. So we just have to keep that in mind, that whatever we're doing for the service of the citizens. One of the things you're doing, for example, is, and you're doing a great job, Chair, is the Open Meetings Act. That's public has the right to see how the public bodies work. And so that's one of those responsibilities. Return to the next page. One of the governing ideas is just making sure that everything's done ethically, high standards of conduct, maintains integrity, and everything that we do, I think, assume saves of that. Because the commission has shown today concern about making sure that even the appearance of impropriety was avoided. And so those are the things to think about. I understand, it looks like there was some history in the past that may not have been ideal. So moving to the future, making sure that the things you're doing are, you're managing the funds you're entrusted with well, and then you're doing it to meet the mission of the commission. Next page. So just really high level, cannot take official act to benefit yourself. So just make sure you're always thinking, what is the mission of MLK Commission, and make sure that the action you're thinking about taking furthers that goal and not anything personal. Again, you mentioned earlier some instances where you have folks, like you have some checks and balances in place to make sure, when you're spending or granting money, that they're done with that in mind. So we're under for speech. And of course, and other public officers to participate in classes. Next page. Close confidential information for private gain. But you can't have conflicting employment. We got to talk to over conduct. And the biggest thing is disclosure in the end. Being open with everything. Sometimes, we can't affect who your family is. So as long as you're clear about who they are and then everyone's aware that, there may be a conflict and someone may have to recuse or abstain from a vote or an action. Then the next page. Again, to disclose potential conflicts of interest, I said, you had a good example, earlier today, where the executive director expressed concern about having to make certain decisions in certain instances. It's that awareness, those are just showing signs that that the commission and the staff are taking that into account to avoid, both, real conflicts and potential conflicts. And that's a very, very quick play with you. If you have questions, this will go around, you'll get to that point, you'll have our number and email. I don't know if y'all, Blaine, by us, so. Questions.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate that. And thank you for giving us the condensed version and sharing the PowerPoint so we can study it in more detail. And then we'll go to the next item on our agenda is just to talk about a few of our next meetings, so we know ahead of time, please have an idea who may be able to come. Regular meetings. August, anybody have objections right away to August 21st? August 21st, not good. Are you sure? Because Executive Director Tubman, do you have a comment about August 21st?
Well, I did say that that is the first week of school. Commissioner Stone, I told Chair West this with the guys that maybe you might still miss that meeting, but that is the week of one of Commissioner Stone's her biggest event for her department, but I suggested that it might be advantageous for the commission to have their meeting that day and then support that event that afternoon, but know that Commissioner Stone might not be available because she's the director of that department.
I understand. Then Commissioner Stone, how would you feel about it if we met at UNM and maybe we came to your event after we finished our meeting?
It costs money for it, the most meeting or not.
Okay,
I don't have a fee, unfortunately, they're hooked up.
okay,
But you're welcome to join us after for the welcome.
okay. All right, so August 21st may not be the best day because among other things, we would like for you to be at the meeting. That whole week is maybe not good for you. How about the week before? Maybe folks be okay with that? Maybe the Friday, how about the Friday, the week before? What date is that?
The 15th.
You're right. Friday, August 15th. Any objections there?
Chair West, I would suggest that maybe I send out a poll because you don't have a good representation of all your commissioners and everyone here can say yes to the 15th.
And then we
And
might,
then you have 8 other people who can't do it, so I can send out a poll.
that's the answer. So with that, it's 3:01 PM. We're at the next item of our agenda. That's it for today. Thanks, everybody, for being here.